All right, we are talking 186A, the Houston ISD district. I got my man Jon Poorman from the Houston Chronicle. Every time we talk 186A, we start and usually finish with Lamar. But last year, a lot of stellar athletes on that team that just could. It's one of those deals: get them the ball and watch them take off. But a lot of them have graduated, and this year we're going to be talking about 6'6", 285-pound beast on the offensive line, and Dramond Odoms. Talk about how his presence alone will give whoever the new quarterback is time to do his thing.
Yeah, Jermod Odoms is just the anchor for this offensive line. I mean, what a talented player. He's one of the top offensive tackle recruits in the country. Obviously, big, strong, physical kid at the point of attack. I mean, just everything you could ask for in a dominant offensive tackle. So that right there, obviously, the offensive tackle spot is one of the most important positions on the field, and they've got probably the best in the city when it comes to that. Yeah, but I mean, Lamar overall, year after year, we see what they do. The success that they've had is really quite extraordinary. You looking back over the past 2-3 decades, even and last year was a perfect example of that. They finished 12-1 overall. They had the perfect regular season, which was a great achievement under Coach Michael Lindsay there. And then there's certainly no shame in losing to Atascocita in the third round of the playoffs. An Atascocita team that is always seemingly making it to the regional final. So yeah, I mean, another great season. There were some questions about, as Lamar was going through the 2023 season, there were some questions about, okay, they're not really playing much competition in their district. They're not being challenged. Of course, they had some good teams lined up for their non-district schedule, but once they got towards the middle and into the regular season, there were a lot of blowouts, and there were some questions about how good were they really? How good were the Texans? And they certainly proved that in the playoffs. They knocked off Ridge Point in the second round there. A really impressive win from a Ridge Point team that a lot of people had high expectations for, and a Ridge Point program that has had a lot of success over the years. So they were certainly no joke, and they certainly proved it once they got to the postseason. So I mean, obviously, you got to like Lamar coming back to repeat as the district champion there. Um, I mean, it's just what they do year
Mm-hmm.
after year, district championships, and I would expect for that to continue.
Yeah, that you bring up the Rich Point game, and that was one where they really needed their defense in that one because that defense caused a lot of turnovers to get that win
Yeah.
against a Richport team, like you said, is extremely experienced in the postseason. And I don't know what the turnover total was, but they got them at the most crucial times to win that game.
Yeah.
Uh, you look at the rest of this district. You obviously see Wisdom moving up, and Wisdom had a good year last year, but moving up to 6A is going to be quite a challenge there. Talk about Heights. Maybe they seem like a clear number two, and maybe some other teams that may step up and look like they could be one of the four.
Yeah, per usual, Heights is the clear number two in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Year after year that they prove that to be true, and a few years ago they even eclipsed Lamar to get their own district title there. So they're certainly the biggest contender and the biggest threat to Lamar. They've done a great job establishing that program as well, and it really seems to be on the rise. They finished last year with an 8-4 record, 5-1 in district play. Their only loss was to Lamar. So I would expect them to be that clear shoe in at number two. But then it gets really interesting. Uh, the rest of this district, how it's going to shake out, is going to provide some opportunities for some of these teams to jump in there. Wisdom is an interesting addition, obviously, like you said, moving up to 6A. They were a great story last year, just a fantastic story with the success they were able to have. But obviously, moving up classification is a whole new ball game. So we'll see how that kind of how that growth kind of impacts them and the level of competition that they're going to be playing. Bel Air had a solid season last year. getting into the playoffs there. I really feel like these last two spots behind Lamar and Heights are kind of up for grabs. So it's going to be interesting to see which of these two teams can rise to the occasion and get into the playoffs there.
Yeah, in the past, if you look at history, you would think it would be Bel Air and West Side, with maybe Wisdom giving a push, and Chavez and Sam Houston they just don't have the horses there to kind of compete for a playoff spot. But you're right, it should be an interesting battle for those last two spots. All right, we're going to move on to KDISD, which just keeps growing and growing. I think next realignment, we may have 10 teams in this district. Who knows? But we will talk Katy next week in 196A. Thanks for joining us, Jon, and have a good week.
All right, thank you.